welcome to the Other War Plus One. I'm Liam Spronken. I'm here with Rowan Simmons today.
Yes, hello.
Welcome to the Other War Plus One.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I've been on the Art of War, so it only makes sense to come back for the follow-up, so to speak. So, yeah, very excited.
Yep, and you're your signature hero.
Yes, Dorinthea, my one and only.
We'll send you playing if they watch the stream at all.
Yes, exactly. I think I've only played Dorinthea on stream. I think if you go back a long way, you might see me on Rhinar at some point, but yeah, Dorinthea has
I don't
been...
think I've ever seen you on Rhinar.
I've played Rhinar for a little bit, briefly. I picked up the cards, I had a lot of fun, and then I threw them away and came back to my girl, so yeah.
So today we're playing Kano versus Dorinthea.
Yes, now this is not a matchup that I have a lot of experience with necessarily in Constructed, just because there's one person who plays Constructed Kano, which is Jesse Williams, who you guys have seen on stream before.
Yeah, he plays half the armor events.
Yeah, exactly. And getting matched up with him is, you know, obviously a bit of a toss-up with so many people playing. So this one's a bit tricky for me figuring out sideboarding, just because I personally, with the skewed meta in Dunedin, run 3 Nulrune anyway. But right now we're running off of what if I didn't, like a normal person.
Yeah.
So it's tricky figuring out the sideboard for me. Obviously, shunts come out just because you can't shunt anything.
Yeah, so that's 9 cuts already.
So that's 9 cuts. I can cut out 12 cards. I run 8 equipment in my full deck normally. Right now I'm running 5 pieces of equipment, so the shunts can come out completely. And then, yeah, right now I'm tossing up between Courage of Bladehold and Spring Tunic for chest piece and Nulrune Hood and Skullcap for my headpiece. So Tunic and Courage of Bladehold I'm tossing up with just because I'm not sure whether I want to be pushing more aggressively early game with Courage and managing to get those free Dawnblade turns versus Tunic and gaining the resource that way, betting a little slower. I think for this I'm going to be packing Courage just because it lets me block out the Nourishing Emptiness if it comes out early, which is a good thing.
Well, notably you can do that with your other equipment already and one card.
Yeah, so that's kind of the balance, but I think also on the event that I get my perfect turn early, Courage of Bladehold is worth at least 3 resource on 1 turn, whereas Tunic is...
worth 3 resource over the whole game.
Exactly. So on my big blowout turn, which I hopefully get, you guys can call back in the comments if I don't get it, Courage of Bladehold is the more valuable card for me, so that's the one I'm going to be rocking today. And then Skullcap versus Nulrune Hood is an interesting conundrum to me just because... Obviously, I start the game with more life, but either way, I'm going to be taking a huge amount of arcane damage just because at most I'll be able to block out 1 per attack versus if I rock the skull cap and drop down, I'll be able to block out 3 if I'm at lower life. So I'm a little bit torn on which of those is more useful for this. I think for this game, I'm probably going to rock the Nulrune Hood. But we'll figure it out when I actually put out the equipment. So.
You also notice if you run the skull cap with the Courage, you can block the Nourishing Emptiness fully with your equipment.
Exactly, which saves the full card. So that's the other thing that I'm considering. So yeah, I'll figure that out in probably the next like 3 minutes after Liam explains his sideboarding.
In practice, the Arcanite skull cap hasn't worked particularly well through the GCR I played versus Warrior.
Yeah, exactly.
You can manipulate your life total reasonably well, so that they can never block any of your damage.
Yeah.
Unless you get some pretty snowbally turns.
Yes.
So, 1 Nulrune doesn't make a huge difference to that either. But at least you mitigate some damage here and there.
Exactly.
Especially with like an extra red in your hand or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm taking out some of my clunky reds. So Fork Lightning, which is there for pushing over large Nulrune amounts. And then Aether Spindle is like one of my worst reds. Like the ult effect's really good, but I don't think I'm going to be keeping enough cards to make use of it properly. And Voltic Bolt's a similar effect but does 1 more damage. So it could stay in, but I'm cutting it for card numbers here. And then once do the other ones as a block 2. That requires a few more cards in hand to get use out of. We're keeping 2 in because it's like strong enough to play, but I don't think everyone want to be stuck with 2 in hand, or I'd prefer another red instead. And then Time Snap because it doesn't block, and we're not going to get time to set up big Time Snap turns. And then Remembrance, we don't need to be putting cards back, we've got enough action, and there's not enough block to make me want to reuse that Stir or Forked. 1 Time of Fendel because of its block 2 and it's a bit harder to set up. And then some of our worst blues, so 2 Zaps and 2 of the Sundering Foresight because it blocks 2 here. And then taking out the Skull Cap. Blocking 2 might seem nice here, which well definitely is, but it also doesn't let me hit that magic number 3 versus Dorinthea.
Yeah.
Adding 2 normally doesn't matter, so I'd rather have that talisman to push damage late game. And I think it's going to be a lot of a damage race, and I'll just take counters off where I can.
Yeah. So
that's, and then I'm just playing the Crucible, Lens, Tunic, still straight as the mid cards modes.
Yeah. Cool.
Let's get into it.
Yeah. Okay. Still haven't made up my mind, so I think I'm just going to run the Nulrune Hood. I think being able to block 1 damage is still potentially useful, depending on how much you're able to push through. So.
Yeah, we'll see how it feels after this game.
6, yeah, exactly. Hala, you go first, I think. Because I don't want to give the wizard the opportunity to
well, it's kind of the same.
Draw
you
up,
free feed
right?
anyway,
yeah.
Because you're not really able to block anything.
Okay.
So going second is still reasonable because you get the tempo.
Yeah.
You get your 4-card hand to take cards out of my hand when I can't redraw.
Exactly. And best case scenario, I draw a sigil first turn as well.
Yes.
And I can pop that off and then draw back up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is what I did in our dash game, which was
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah.
First time I played with sigil in a while, actually. So I'll start like Tunicking. Kano.
Yep.
Cool. What a start. Crucible, Energy Potion, awesome. Go.
Cool. I guess it didn't matter which of us went first.
Yeah.
Alright, so...
and here's where I'm getting slightly punished for having to play these 3 favor scenes in the deck.
Yeah,
Seeing one off
exactly.
the top last turn means I can't do anything.
Yeah. Alright, so... This is an interesting hand just in terms of attack reactions. So I'm going to pitch 2 here. And this is kind of a little bit weird for me playing a blue instead of pitching it, but in a equipment area where I only have 1 Nulrune anyway, doesn't super matter. And then I'm going to come in for 4 on a hit, go again.
Yep. I'm not going to block this one.
Cool. Alright, so on the go again. I have no resource floating, so what I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to pitch a glint, come in with the Brave Forge braces for 4 with 1 resource floating and 1 card in hand.
This is kind of weird. So you got 1 resource floating.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good.
Yes.
I think we're going to block 4 here.
Cool, came from hand. This is, so the card that I've got, this is interesting, is the Singing.
Right.
So I think on this turn, I have options of whether I go for a 3rd attack or
no resource, right? So
1 resource. So
now you have no resource after you played this.
yeah. So I think on that turn I would just go for an Iron Song response
Just push damage.
and push damage through.
Yeah. So I could overblock that, but
Yeah. So that was super convenient for me that I did have that one, but I would have preferred to just have an Iron Song response in hand, because playing the Singing Steelblade on my turn 1 always feels a little bad, just taking that threat out. But right, and that gets me my first counter.
So if I'm not blocking that, whereas Vala's really banking on Rowan not having much more resource.
Yeah.
Just from pitching that yellow.
Yeah.
That's pretty good there.
Yeah, so the yellow pitch Remembrance was just because I had nothing to play for the Remembrance. So might as well go to the bottom of the deck where it won't threaten me. Well, because that's the interesting thing is whether I sideboard out the Remembrance or keep it in to hit the Nourishing Emptiness multiple times. That's, yeah, where my conundrum is.
For it to matter.
That's the thing, right? Yeah.
You can play Chain Lightning and respond to it with a snapback. So snapback for 1.
So, step back for 1. I can block it. It's just a question of whether I want to. So, Chain Lightning does what on a hit? Oh, thank you.
Just lets me play my next card as an instant, and
Cool.
it deals 3.
Awesome. Okay, so... I think I pitch 2 here. And
So
block that 1.
2 take. So you block this one and 3.
Cool.
So you
So I take 2.
Cool. I'll Tomb of Aether to draw 2.
Uh-huh.
Kano. Aether Flare for 3. So really like another card to follow this up with.
Yeah.
So the next one deals X4.
Cool. Where you have no pitch remaining.
Yeah.
For 3.
Yeah.
I'm not going to block any of that.
Sure.
Take 3.
Unfortunately, I don't have like a snapback or something to follow it up.
Yep. Cool.
If I have snapback there, I crucible the Aether Flare and then snapback
Yes.
comes in for 7. So.
100%. But either way, it's coming in for 7 or it's coming in for 5.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not blocking a huge amount of damage for that, so it's not super worth it to me trying to block it out.
Yeah.
Hit and Run, one of my favourite cards in the game, for 4.
So here's where I worry about playing around the twinning, and I don't think I do. I think if you have the twinning, you have the twinning. So we're going to block 9.
Cool.
And that beats the +3 at least.
Yes.
Gets the counter off. And I would like to keep the Lesson on Lava, but I can't block 6 because then you just +3 it. I'm like,
exactly.
Oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
I'm going to Nourishing Dominated.
For 6?
Yeah. Get your armor in a card.
Um.
So you get to 5. So you want to save some of that armor.
Yeah. Save the... Well, because my issue is, if I pop Courage off, would be bad if I didn't block with it.
Block that one first then.
Yeah. There we go. So 2, 3, and then 1 card gets me to 6.
Yep.
Yeah. This is the upside of actually playing with equipment in a game against the Wizard, is that it really does make it easier to actually play a game. Yeah, this is rough. This is a classic warrior hand
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
I can't do anything even if I break Courage because I have to pitch pretty much everything.
Get an energy potion and play the sounds fantastic.
If I have an energy potion, the game is very different.
Yeah.
But in this one, it's just a Dawnblade for 3.
So if I haven't seen your hand, I think I blocked 6 here.
Yeah.
And you just don't need +3.
Mhm.
Especially holding 2 cards.
Yes. And then my turn.
Yeah.
Cool.
Probably never going to be playing on your turn.
Yeah.
It's just like spending 3 resource to deal 1 extra damage.
Yeah,
which is
exactly.
not a good rate. So we're just going to play a potion and Arsenal here.
Cool. Now this is... I think... How much equipment do we have? Nothing. 4 cards in hand, 1 in arsenal. Now this is a turn where I'm torn about popping Courage and going for it. It's not a perfect hand, but I think I do it anyway. Pitching the Valor to pay for both of those, and then pitching the Route to pay for my arsenal card. And
Break the Courage.
yeah.
Yeah.
Alternatively, I think breaking Courage is too early and I can't guarantee an attack reaction.
That is your 3rd. Oh no, it's your 2nd supremacy because you kept 1
Yeah.
last turn. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that the threat is better than actually breaking it. So I think I pop that out and play it like that. And come in for 6, 8. Which is still a huge amount to block over.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to block that one.
Yeah.
I'll take 8.
Cool. So I draw off of Supremacy.
Yeah. I really hope that's a red.
It is. It is. And this is a frustrating point. I think I still pitch it. It's a Sharpened Steel,
Yeah.
which I don't want to pitch. I would love to play it. But
You got to come in again.
I got that
On
coming
this
through
next
again.
turn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm going to come in again for 5. Which is still a 2 card block.
6.
Which is pretty good in this game.
So I would really like to keep 4 cards there. Supremacy is about the only thing that makes me block.
Yeah.
Which is kind of frustrating, but I'm just going to come in with Tim Fenning, 2 and gain 4.
Cool.
And now I'm thinking about rating Talismanic Lens. If we get to keep the 6 card hand, we do every time. But as it is, I think we're just going to blind Kano. That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Gonna Kano again. Oh, actually now I think I want to break lens because I want to guarantee a big hit.
Yes.
So we're gonna up 2. Top, bottom.
Yeah. So seeing Liam break Talismanic Lens is obviously an indicator that this is really going to be a pop-off turn, which is not ideal for me with 1 null rune, but...
So this is kind of interesting. I'm gonna come in for 4. I'm gonna play this. Metacarpus Nose trigger, and I'm gonna respond to it by Kanoing.
Okay.
So I'm gonna play a Gaze the Ages.
Yeah.
I'm gonna Gaze the Ages. Oh, 2. Yeah, it doesn't get any easier for me. Leave those on top. So I'll bounce this. Oh, did I put those in the right order? I sure did. Bounce this, get a Kano.
Yep.
Play a Tome of Fendel and draw 2.
Cool. This is where Wizard gets to play 1,000,000 cards and I just have to wait until they tell me what's happening.
So we're still going to play on top of this, I think. We're Kano again.
Okay.
That's a big hit. So we hit a Sonic Boom. So now we're going to come in... actually... We don't need to respond now because we can just let this happen. So we're going to... That's resolved. We're going to go back to...
Aether Flare.
The Aether Flare. We're going to crack an energy potion. So we've got 1 floating. And we're going to pay for the Metacarpus nodes here. So we're going to come in for 5.
Awesome. So the on-hit effective Aether Flare is it costs less.
No, it deals X more.
Deals X more.
Yeah,
Fun.
So it's a big one.
Yeah. So
That's
this
why I
is
went so...
go hard, yeah. Okay. So I think... What's my play on my next turn? Match that. 18. Okay. For 5.
And we're going to end up using a lot of resources on this turn.
Yeah.
So I think that's fine.
So I'm kind of torn about whether I pitch more than just a red here to anticipate damage dealt in the future. And I think I do. Just, I'm going to pitch a blue here and take 4 to 31.
Yep, I'm going to create my energy potion.
Yeah.
I'm going to come in with Sonic Boom, and I'm going to pay for Metacarpus nodes again.
Cool.
4, 8.
Alright, so I'm going to block 1 and take 7.
Yep. And a Blazing Aether would be best possible here.
Yep.
That's pretty good as well. So we're going to come in for 5.
Cool. Blocking 1, taking 4.
I'm just going to think about paying for Metacarpus nodes on that one.
Cool.
Because the other option, I've got 2 reds, so I could patch the red to play for Metacarpus nodes,
Mm-hmm.
or I could patch the red to play a Snapback.
Yeah.
And I think I'd rather patch the red to play for Metacarpus here and Arsenal another card.
I think that that's probably the thing that you want to
so
do.
It's gonna be 6.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I'm blocking 1 and I'm taking 5
Yeah.
to 19.
Cool.
Alright, so I think I pitch 2 here and come in for 6 dominated.
You.
Yeah.
It's not loud.
Yeah. So if I'd managed to keep the blue hit and run, it would have been blue hit and run, yellow hit and run, Dawnblade, Nourishing Emptiness, but
And draw up here.
I dropped to 5 here, which is good for me.
I'm just going to start pushing damage.
Mm-hmm.
Bolted for 8. 9, sorry.
Voltic for 9.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the point where I 1 card in hand, nothing floating. Could always be a blind Kano.
I do have 1 floating.
1 floating? Okay, cool. So it could be another thing, which I should be afraid of. I think I block 1 here, take 7,
Yep.
8.
8, sorry, yeah.
to 11.
Yeah, 9.
Yeah. And that's an arsenal. Cool.
So I'm still looking at effectively full card here.
Yeah.
Full card hand.
Exactly. And this is the point where I think I have to break courage and try and push through. I'm really in the danger zone right now. So this is an interesting point where I have to try and really break through.
At least I know it's probably not a supremacy, because there's been a bunch of those played.
Yeah.
You got 2 floating currently.
Yep.
1 floating. 1 floating.
Yep.
And you're coming in 4, 5, 8, 11.
Correct.
That leaves me dead to 1 plus 3, doesn't it?
Yep.
That's truly unfortunate.
1 card in hand, 1 floating.
I think we're just going to block 4 from Arsenal here.
Cool. Tech reaction.
Yeah, I'm just going to opt.
Out for blood.
The opt is interesting.
I think at this point it would have been wiser for me to wait for the opt to be completed, but the out for blood is what I'm going to play, because if he can kill me from 11 with 1 resource as much as he can from 11 with no resource.
Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So how much damage is this?
So this is 5, 8, 11, 14.
So I'm taking 10.
Correct. I create copper because that's a thing that Spores of War just does.
Yep.
So I'm going to leave that there.
Yep.
Take those down, and then I'm going to come in for 4.
So you have the option of blocking this one.
Mm-hmm.
What we're going to do is we're going to start by Kanoing and drawing 2.
Yep. Now right now, I'm just hoping that those draws are garbage.
I had in hand already, so we're going to Kano and opt 2.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I don't have the resource. So that'll be banished. I pay for those things.
This is why I don't play Kano. There is way too much math involved for me.
I think I get there. So 1. Yeah. Yeah. So bottom 1, top the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Goodbye. Banish the Sonic Boom.
Yep.
Sonic Boom for 3. Oh, that makes it really easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I had lethal anyway, so this is coming for 3.
Yep.
We've got 1 floating. Yeah. And then Storm Striders.
Yep.
Chain Lightning for 6. Now I hit the Blazing Aether as well.
Exactly.
So if I hit nothing here, it's still 12
lethal
damage.
Yeah.
But this makes it 24.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna, the card that I pitched to block the damage on the last turn was the Stroke of Foresight.
Yeah.
And the reason I didn't keep it was just that the card that I draw is going to be, it's basically an opt at the point that I play it. So I'm just going to punish myself.
So this is slightly better here, right?
Yeah, the out for blood, the +1 is what I want. So the Iron Song response is great. That would have stayed on the top. In either case, regardless of whether I stuck the Stroke of Foresight or the out for blood, but the +1 is what I want, considering I can't pay for the braces.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. So that's kind of how it goes. Warrior's always been one of the best matchups for Kano.
Yeah.
Just like there's red heavy decks that
Yes.
aren't interacting in a way that you're interested in.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, Nourishing Emptiness gives the armor a reason to be there, which wasn't there previously.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think the Nulrune Hood was the right choice in that matchup. I think I was just never lower. Yeah. It was just too much of a trade to justify the skull cap.
Yeah, and so I'm just playing to those big turns, like the one I had in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
And that's the last turn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, not having an energy pot out on that dual supremacy turn.
Yeah, that would have been fun. Yeah.
That would have been the perfect turn to pop off the...
Yeah, and I just had a couple of cards you kept in.
The plow-throughs.
The plow-throughs and the Remembrance.
Yes. Yeah.
Why was that?
So I'm keeping the plow-throughs just because, number one, that they're a great +3.
Yeah.
also number 2, after that first nourishing comes out, the second one you may as well block with, and the plow through introduces that extra threat. Yeah, that's the thing that I'm betting on, right? Yeah. Is that you're running more than one.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the remembrance are just there to cycle through in the event that I hit one at the perfect time, the Nourishing Emptiness as well as Steelblade Supremacy and Red Valor, just in case I can't put through enough damage in the early game and I do have to try and drag it out a little, which I don't want to do, but...
So I don't think the game state's ever going to get to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
when you have the 3 Null Ring, it's more of a consideration.
Yeah.
I still don't think you're ever likely to deck, just because you're not spending cards to block.
Exactly.
You're going to end up with them back in your deck anyway.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. So for me, the Remembrance isn't about decking out as much as it's about recycling my Go Again and my threat of Go Again. Yeah. That's what that's really in for. But yeah. No, it's close, but still Kano's advantage. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. So yeah.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah. Thanks for the support, guys. Good to try out Warrior against a hero that's not normally featured in the format. So
yeah, we'll definitely see you on for another one, I think.
Yeah. Hopefully. Cool. Fingers crossed.
Cool. See you next time.
Thank you.